Hi there, Judy Graybill, international relationship coach, healing hearts, one relationship at a time, specializing in step families, co-parenting with an ex-spouse, and adult children of divorce. It is about 10 to 6 on January 6th, 2020, and this is my first video of the year where I'm talking about one theme and addressing an issue that I think is relevant. So when I was pulling tarot cards for this year, one for every month, the card that I got for January was the equivalent of Three of Swords, which is basically about breakups. And it's almost kind of depressing, especially if we're starting out the new year that way. And I almost wanted to pull another one because that's what we do when we get something that sounds depressing. We want to no, let me pull another one. But I sat with it and really thought about it. And so that was a week ago. And this theme has actually come up multiple times. And I'm thinking back on a conversation I had at on Christmas night that basically included the Me Too movement, about the gender differences. And there are a lot of gender differences that have plagued our society forever and a day. And we've always been confused. I mean, we have that book by John Gray, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And then we have the Me Too movement, which is part of the conversation I had on Christmas night. I had the, like I said, I pulled the Three of Swords as the theme for this month. And then earlier today, I was listening to a video by somebody else who I follow. And it's you know, I listen to, I follow just like a few different coaches on YouTube who talk about energies and themes and what like other coaches are kind of teaching and seeing. And so I know that this is very relevant. And I specifically want to talk about, I feel compelled to talk about infidelity. Didn't think that this would come up in my personal life, but it does come up every once in a while on multiple levels. Not just infidelity, like cheating, but also like lying, being caught. And so if you're, I designate a chapter in the book that I'm writing about infidelity, and I approach it from both sides of the coin. Whether you are the one who did the cheating or you were the one being cheated on. And this has multiple different scenarios that you can look at. So, and I'm just trying to pick one in my brain to start with. So I'll start with the scenario of it just happened. Somebody cheated the other and got caught. And so and then you have the other person who is obviously very angry. So, and then this pops up other different scenarios on whether the cheater is going to actually own up to what he did, or it could have been she. See what I did there? I said he right off because I'm female, and so naturally it's the other person. But please know that like this goes on both sides. It's not a gender specific thing. Even if I happen to mention a gender, just kind of fill in the other gender or whatever is relevant for you, because this is actually a people situation. It's a relationship situation, and gender really doesn't play into it because it's like people cheat. Gender doesn't cheat, people cheat. And there's all kinds of different reasons for it. And that's one of the things that I want to ask you, whether you were the one who did it or you were the one who got cheated on, you have to look at the deeper issues. One of the things that I've always said is that when people say that they broke up because their significant other, their husband, ex, cheated on them, well, no, that's actually not the reason you broke up. I know, I'm sorry, like if that offends you and that bothers you, but no, the cheating is a symptom of something else that is going on in your relationship that you haven't addressed. Maybe it's a symptom of something going on within a person. Like if you were the one who cheated, maybe it's something specifically going on within you. If it was your partner that cheated, maybe it's something specific going on within your partner. It really comes down to the wounded inner child. That's almost everything goes back to the wounded inner child and healing our previous wounds. And because it's the little kid in us who just wants to be loved. And that's actually a really good point. It's like we all just want to be loved. And so when it comes to cheating, it's like the base of cheating comes down to searching for that love, because that's what we all want. That's what the wounded inner child wants. So, and this might offend you if you were the one being cheated on, because you might be thinking, I did love him, her. Like I was doing that. And so, and if the anger is fresh in your mind, you might want to like calm down and then watch this video at another time, or maybe just, reach out to me and we can talk about it personally. Because I'm not saying your anger is not justified. And actually, this came up at New Year's Eve also with a friend of mine, and this is something that happened like 10 years ago, and she's in she's in her second marriage or relationship, and she's been in this one for several years, and it was her ex-husband that had cheated on her with like a very close friend. And she was the person who rose above, and the other person, the other woman in the scenario, did not. And she, I don't know who the conversations that she's had with other people, but she seemed to have downplayed her justification for her anger. About rising above is the right thing to do, and I agree that it is. But we also have to give voice to that anger, because it's a human emotion. It's there is no emotion that is unhealthy. No, the actions are unhealthy. The emotions themselves are normal. What we do with those emotions is what can be unhealthy. The anger is justified, but are you willing to figure things out? Are you willing to work through the anger? Are you willing to heal from that anger? Because ultimately everybody should be healing from their anger, whatever, we should be, because if you look at the health of your relationship, maybe that relationship is over. That's fine. And if that relationship ends, that's a choice. You can choose to end the relationship based off that infidelity, but you still have to heal from that anger of that infidelity in order for you to have a healthy relationship and your next relationship to be healthy, which is what my friend did that I was talking about on New Year's Eve. Because there's other scenarios where people don't heal from that, and they don't work through those emotions, and then they get into another relationship, and then they're constantly accusing their partner of cheating on them. even if their partner is not. And so, and this also came up this past year with some friends of mine, a couple, and they've been together for a few years. And this has come up multiple times in the relationship over the last couple of years. And they haven't been dealing with it, I mean, like, I'm a coach. I've given suggestions, I've given resources, and nothing done. And so this year when it came up, I'm like, you need to break up. This is toxic. And I'm not going to go through all the details of what was said or what was done. But I'm telling you, it was the heightened emotions and the intensity with regards to actions that have put one of these people in fear of even going home. And when it gets to that level, it's toxic. You probably should leave the relationship. And my opinion did not go over very well, understandably. Well, yes and no. It's understandable depending. But it was like the partner of the person who I said that to messaged me and was giving me all kinds of flack for my opinion. And, at some point I'm like, well, I'm giving you the same advice, honestly. I mean, this is actually toxic for both you and your partner. So why are you staying? I mean, like, you really believe your partner is cheating on you on a regular basis. Why are you staying with someone who's cheating on you if that's what you believe? Like, you have to ask yourself that. Now, in this scenario, I didn't think he was actually cheating. And there's other scenarios where it's actually not. And then there's the conversation about emotional cheating, not physical cheating. And yes, that is a thing. If you are having cyber sex, I'm not saying anybody that I know did this. This is just a random example, not anybody specific. But if you're having cyber sex with somebody, at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're supposedly in a monogamous relationship, your partner is sleeping in bed and you're having cyber sex with somebody else, okay, that's cheating. Even if it wasn't a visual, even if it wasn't video, if it was just text. If you are, and let's take it down a notch, if you are just spending a lot of time with that other person, again, this is in a monogamous partner relationship, and you're spending a lot of time with another person, and you're always sitting very close, you guys got your arms around each other, you're flirting, and you know if you're flirting or if somebody's flirting with you. Okay, no, I know a lot of people don't. I'm hearing a couple voices go off in my head. Times where somebody was flirting with me and I didn't know. And I apologize because sometimes people don't know. But I'm not talking about those scenarios. I'm talking about, like, when you're texting kisses and hugs, and it's really obvious, and it's you really have to sometimes check yourself. And that's that kind of scenario on the suspicion has come up with other people, some peripheral people in my coaching. So that's emotional cheating. And like, when you're in a monogamous relationship, your partner should know 100% that you're going to go home with them every single night. Not just that you're going to go home with them if you're out on a party or whatever, or you're going to come back home to them. That you're not going to go, romp around with somebody else. Like if your partner doesn't know that definitively, and you're in a monogamous relationship, there is something wrong with your relationship. It could be just that your partner is ultra jealous, but that then has to be addressed, because that's not healthy, and it creates an oppressive state. It creates fear. It creates this scenario where now I'm afraid to tell the truth because my partner is going to go off on me. Like if you are in a relationship where you're afraid to tell the truth because you're going to be criticized, and this goes with anything, not just cheating or lying or anything. Well, that we're talking about lying. That's the thing. It's like that's part of the reason why some people lie in relationships. They are afraid to tell the truth because they're afraid that they're going to be criticized. And you might not be the one criticizing your partner. That could be from a past relationship. And that's how our past relationships affect our current relationships. And that's why whatever is going on in our current relationship needs to be healed. And it's either about something that's going on within the relationship dynamic, within me personally, within my partner personally, and either of those could be related to a past relationship. So there's all kinds of reasons for it, but if you don't actually check those reasons, if you don't examine those reasons and you don't like go through it, then you're not going to be able to get to a place of a healthy relationship. Not in this relationship, and if you decide to end it, you're not going to get it in your next relationship either, because you're going to carry all those problems with you to your next relationship. So no matter how you slice it, you have to heal those problems. You have to address them. And I have this analogy that came to mind, compliments of one of my clients, because I was having a one-on-one with him, and he was giving me this analogy. Oh, it's like fly fishing. And I'm like, okay, how is it like fly fishing? He's like, so he's like, I've never been fly fishing, so bear with me if I screw up something. But I got the gist of what he was saying. So it's like, because you're throwing out your hook into the water, and sometimes, as you spring it back, every once in a while, the hook gets caught in your skull. I'm like, I can't imagine how painful that is. He said, but these hooks are designed in such a way that, like, as soon as they go, they spread out. So he said, you can't just pull out the hook because it causes more damage because the hook is splayed. So what you have to do is you actually have to push it through. Now, I have no idea what that actually looks like because that sounds very painful. The point is going through, pushing the needle through all the way to like whatever part of your skull it is, or your hat or whatever. I'm guessing it's probably just the tip. Like I'm guessing it's just the tip of your skull, so it just raises it and cuts it a little bit. I'm hoping. But anyway, that's painful too, but not nearly as damaging as if you just yanked the hook out the other side, or just left the hook in there. Because honestly, metaphorically speaking, that's what most people do in a relationship. And I gave this analogy to somebody who I was trying to help this year, who was coming to me for advice. I'm like, what they're doing is they keep, it's the same analogy of brushing everything under the rug. And then, you keep brushing under the rug and then pretending it's not there. And you get this lump in you keep going past this carpet that's now raised because there's this, all this dirty stuff under there, all the gunk. It's the same thing. It's metaphorically speaking with the fly fishing, you're like leaving the hook in your skull and you're just walking around with it and pretending it doesn't exist. No, it doesn't hurt. Nope, it doesn't hurt. No, there's nothing wrong with my relationship. No, it's not productive. So, so I want to now move towards, healing from relationships. Healing. What does that healing look like? Because for some people, they don't want to leave the relationship, and again, that is your choice to stay. It's your choice to leave. It's your choice to stay. Regardless of which one you choose, you still have to choose the healing option if you want a healthy relationship, whether it's this relationship, whether you stay in this relationship and try to make this one healthy, if that's possible, or if you decide to leave this relationship and go on to another, you still have to heal from this in order to have a healthy relationship with your next partner. So now I'm going to bring it to, like, how do you heal from the infidelity, the cheating, in your current relationship? Just give me a moment. I just want to drink a little bit of water. Thank you. And if you were the one who cheated, you have to be very humble. I mean, you have to express remorse and humility. You have to be really humble about it. And then I'm just trying to think of how to say this, because I am thinking of, like, a client that had come to me about this, and there had a lot of time had passed with regard to this, and he was feeling impatient with regard to gaining that trust again. It's like, and what I want to say is that it actually takes a lot of time. If you've been in a relationship in which there was cheating and you were the one who cheated, and you're now trying to regain the trust that was broken and lost from your partner, that's really tough to do. It can be done, but it's really tough to do, and it takes a lot of time. So I want to talk about the emotional bank account, because, like, what you put into your relationship, you get out. And Stephen Covey talks about the emotional bank account. And every time we do what we say we're going to do, we for our partner, we make a deposit into emotional bank account. It's just like a monetary bank account where you make a deposit, a money deposit. And then if you get caught in a lie, for example, then that's like a debit. If all the things, you criticize your partner. Okay, every time you criticize your partner, you're taking that's a debit out of the emotional bank account. If your partner is criticizing you, I mean, it's one joint emotional bank account. So if you're criticizing your partner, or your partner is criticizing you, that's a debit out of the emotional bank account. When you have a quality date night together, and everything's spectacular, you have that really heart-to-heart conversation and that connection, you guys are both doing something good for each other, you guys just did like a lot of deposits into the bank account. But what happens if there's an imbalance of criticism or lies or things that are going wrong, and if there's too many debits coming out, you're depleted. And there's some things that take a bigger chunk out than others, and cheating and lying is definitely one of them, because you're kind of sacrificing the trust. You're taking for granted. You're taking your partner for granted. So the thing is, both people have to want to make that right, and both people have to work at it. If you were the one who was cheated on, you feel very justified in punishing your partner over and over and over and over and over again, or making them feel bad about what they did, making them feel guilty and shaming them. And you might be doing that for a long time. like initially I totally get that, because you're angry, and that anger is a human emotion. And like, I don't get the shaming. I'm sorry. Like, even immediately, like, I'm a very passionate person, so I might explode initially, but I still don't name call, even when I'm angry. And I do want them to feel guilty though, because like, hello, like, if you don't feel guilty, then why am I in this relationship? You should kind of, the person who did the cheating should feel a little bit remorse. And if they don't, they're probably not a caring person. And the fact of the matter is, most people are caring, and your partner probably is caring. But so that remorse shows that they're a very caring person. So yeah, I want them to feel a little bit of remorse. That's natural, because if there's no remorse there is no avenue for getting past it in a relationship. And so that actually gives you your answer right there. If there is no remorse, you probably shouldn't want to stay in that relationship. That's a big question you would have to ask yourself on why you're staying in that relationship. If your partner's not showing remorse. So let's pretend that, your partner is. Your partner cheated on you, and your partner is showing remorse because, he or she is a very caring person, and they realize they screwed up. And so the person who did the cheating has to ask themselves, why did I cheat? What emotional need within myself was not being met, either by my partner or through some other dysfunction within me, or an unhealthy mindset, behavior pattern, or what is a behavior pattern? What is it within me or my relationship that made me want to stray? Like, like, that's a valid question you should be asking yourself. And then if you were the one being cheated on, and you, again, this goes back to the feeling self-righteous and justified in being angry because of what they did to you. But if you go off the premise that I said earlier today, that cheating is a symptom of something else, then you have to ask yourself, what is that something else? What is the underlying problem with that is there, that is causing that is led to the cheating? It doesn't justify the cheating. It doesn't mean that the cheating is okay, because it's not. But if you're choosing to stay in that relationship, and you're choosing to work on that relationship, then that's something you have to ask. You have to answer that question in order to get to the healing. That's what I'm telling you, because this message, this video is about how to heal. And I'm trying to help you get to that. So, and now I want to talk a little bit about polyamorous relationships, because I have a lot of friends who do that. And the thing is, in an open relationship or a polyamorous relationship, some people think there's no such thing as cheating, which if you're in one, then you know that that's not true. But there's still some people who are trying out that lifestyle without really understanding all the etiquette and the rules and so forth. So they're, it's just like with everything else. It's like people are flawed. People are like, try on this, they try on that, they try on this lifestyle, they try that, and they get caught up in not doing the right thing. And that's like, I mean, like even doing Facebook has its etiquette, right? Like everybody, we think everybody knows how to use Facebook and that there's this etiquette to it. And yet there's every once in a while, there's these people who don't get it, and it's like they become outcasts. Well, it's kind of like the same thing. It's like, because they're just trying it out. They just didn't get the memo, basically. So there's some people who actually don't have a true understanding of what those parameters are, and go beyond. And so, like, I'm talking about this mindset, whereas, like, well, my partner is going to understand because we're so open and so forth. So my partner's going to understand. Well, if you think about it, if you have an open relationship, and yet you just did something outside of the parameters or outside of the rules that you guys have laid down, that's been accepted, that person is probably your partner is probably going to be hurt more so than the other people, than the monogamous counterpart. It actually makes less sense for you to actually lie to that person or to stray from that person or act outside, because that person is the one who's more open than the other people. It's like that person is more liberal and open about certain things than, let's say, the mainstream society. So it's more likely that they're going to be open to having a discussion about maybe changing a rule or a rule that doesn't work for you. But like, if you want to change a rule, you want to change a parameter, you have to really think about that. You have to, it's like, why do you want to change the rule? Is it just for kicks and giggles? Is it just for fun? Because you're a hedonist, or is it because there's something about it that's affecting you on a core level? Is there something about it that is, I'm trying to think of what is the right word, that goes against who you are on a soul level, in your core? Because one of the things that I do with all my clients and in all my programs, and is, it's really about, I want people to stay and get in touch with who they are in their core, and to stay in touch with that. I think it's what we do to ourselves a lot of times is go against who we are in relationships. And when we're going against who we are in relationships because we're afraid of losing our partner, then that's when you're going to slowly die as a person. You're going to wilt, and you're going to be more oppressed. You're going to be more oppressed. You're going to be more depressed, and that's a sickness that is affecting you internally, you personally. And if you let that fester and you keep going along with something that is not true to who you are in your core, that's going to blow up in your face. Probably you're probably not getting your needs met. You're probably depressed. You probably have an unhealthy relationship, and that's going to affect your bedroom. It's going to affect your physical intimacy. It's going to affect how emotionally intimate you feel with your partner. It's because it's going to affect how are you. You're not going to want to feel. You're not going to be getting closer with that person, so it's not going to enhance your relationship. So I just want to go back to, so one other thing with regard to, like, if you're the one who is being cheated on, or let's talk about the punishment and feeling justified. It's understandable in the beginning, but you have to rise above it for the healing, as I said. But if you continually punish, shame, blame, or make your partner feel guilty and throw it in your partner's face about what he or she did, you're not being productive. And if you're the person who did the cheating and you feel remorseful and your partner is repeatedly shaming you and making you feel guilty and keep throwing it in your face, and I'm talking like weeks and months, ask yourself why you're staying. Because again, you're choosing to stay, your partner is choosing to stay. Why are you guys choosing that for yourselves? Why are you choosing to punish yourself? Why are you choosing to be unhealthy? Happy? I said unhealthy. I was going to say unhappy, but it's unhealthy too. It's unhealthy for your emotional well-being. It's unhealthy for, I talk about wholeness, it's like I want people to, you deserve happiness. You deserve bliss-charged love. And that's what I want to help people get. I don't know how long I've been talking. Half hour maybe? I probably said enough on this. I mean, because there's actually a lot that I want to say. Like I can talk for hours with all the different scenarios. And I mean, I know earlier when I was thinking about things in my mind, I did think of a few other scenarios that I forgot in this video, but then there's other areas in which I embellished on. So, it comes down to personal choice. Again, it's like, and especially when it comes to a cheating scenario or a lying scenario, it's choice is where your self-empowerment is. If you don't know why you're in that relationship, you're not self-empowered. And if you're in a happy, healthy relationship, then that's an easy question for you to answer. And for everybody else, is like, whatever answer you came up with automatically, I just ask you to go a little bit deeper, just to make sure, just to double check, are you sure? Because what I've noticed is that a lot of people are not really in touch with their subconscious feelings. I have a degree in psychology and sociology, so and I'm also a coach. I will say that I have a lot of personal experience with healing from relationships. I didn't know until recently that I was going to be talking about healing from relationships this coming year. But it makes sense because my tagline has been healing hearts one relationship at a time for a long time. And my main focus has been with regard to the couple and staying in your relationship and how you have a better relationship. And what I've recently realized is that I need to talk more about people who are ending relationships. I might be working more with individuals in this coming year and the focus will be healing from these past relationships in order to move forward with a new, healthier relationship. I'm also going to be talking about relationship patterns, like cheating, for example, for some people is a pattern. And yeah, that's another scenario that had come up when I was driving with a friend of mine, and her marriage had ended because he was a serial cheater. I mean, like, serial cheater, like several times. And so they were divorced a while, and then she started dating him again, and I was just like, what? I was a little confused. I didn't ask her. I just thought I'd see what happens, because I'm like, to me, if your partner has cheated on you multiple times, regardless of what that partner verbally tells you, his behavior patterns tell you that he's probably going to cheat again, because actions speak louder than words. So his words were like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And in actuality, he's probably just sorry he got caught. And then he's like, I won't do it again, I won't do it again. And in that moment, he's trying to convince himself that he's not going to do it again. Like, maybe he's a liar, maybe he's knowingly lying about it, but I don't actually think that's the case. I don't think he was lying to her. I think he was lying to himself. I think he was misleading himself. I think he was in an illusion and denial of what his actual problem was. And so was she. She bought into his words. She believed him. We've all done that, including me. I have not been cheated on like that. That's not why my relationships broke up. But I do have a lot of experience with healing my heart, and that's what makes me an expert on helping you heal your heart. Because it's only in healing your heart from your past relationships and gaining closure from your past relationships. That's what closure really is. It's when you're completely healed. It's only in doing that you can have another relationship that is better than the last and will not repeat that same pattern, whatever it is. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there because I hope I gave you a lot of food for thought. I hope you're really thinking about what I said. And if this resonates with you, please like or share. If you have a personal situation that you think is related to anything that I've talked about, feel free to reach out to me. Just, you can email me, and we can set up an appointment to talk. I'm probably going to be, right now I am offering a free session for anybody who wants one, and that's a full hour of my time. I normally charge $150 for an hour. I'm currently offering a few free sessions. I'm going to be probably restructuring things within my business just this year, since I'm just starting back out and I don't really know how I'm going to do that. So, but stay tuned, and I look forward to sharing more content with you and helping you through more scenarios. All right. Thank you. I hope you have a good night, and hope you do something good for yourself tonight. All right. Thank you. Namaste.